Los Angeles, California, 1970. The Playboy Mansion is at the peak of its golden era. A humid summer night where the air smells of expensive whiskey, French perfume, and unfiltered masculine ego. Hugh Hefner's mansion is neutral territory where athletes, actors, businessmen, and extraordinary women mingle under dim lights and smooth jazz. Here there are no rules of engagement, only social rules, and sometimes those are far more dangerous. Before I tell you how a 120 kilograms NFL giant ended up staring at a 61 kilograms Asian man with absolute respect in just 9 seconds, I ask you one thing. If you're interested in knowing what happens when ego clashes with reality without gloves or referees, stay until the end. If this story makes you rethink what it means to be intimidating, like, subscribe, and comment on which part stirred something inside you. Now let's go to that night. The Playboy Mansion in 1970 wasn't just a house. It was a social ecosystem where the most powerful men in America tested their status. Hefner, the perpetual host, built a space where masculine power was exhibited without subtlety. Professional athletes with Super Bowls in their trophy cases, actors with Oscars, musicians with gold records, businessmen with empires, all competing for attention, for invisible territory. That night among the guests were two men representing opposite worlds. The first was Jim Brown, 34 years old, 188 centimeters, 120 kilograms of functional muscle forged in the trenches. 9 NFL seasons as a running back for the Cleveland Browns. He wasn't just big, he was legendary. Having retired from football at 30 at his absolute peak to pursue acting, he moved from role to role with physical authority, a presence that occupied space without asking permission. By 1970, Jim Brown had already filmed The Dirty Dozen and 100 Rifles. He was the living definition of American masculinity. Big, strong, indomitable, and fully aware of it. Brown had a personality that intimidated without words. A deep voice and a direct gaze that held until the other person looked away. He moved through the mansion with the confidence of someone who had never been physically surpassed by another man. The second man was Bruce Lee, 32 years old, 171 centimeters, 61 kilograms of extreme definition. He arrived at the mansion invited by a Hollywood producer who wanted to introduce him to influential circles. Bruce wasn't a global star yet. He was Kato from the Green Hornet, known in martial arts circles but invisible to the general American public. He dressed simply. Dark trousers, a black silk shirt with rolled-up sleeves, and a compact body that seemed smaller than it was, until you got close and saw the muscles moving under his skin like cables. Bruce didn't seek attention. He observed. He read body language like others read newspapers. He saw Jim Brown. For the first 2 hours, they orbited the party without crossing paths. Bruce talked with Steve McQueen about motorcycles and Taoist philosophy. Jim Brown was surrounded by retired players telling stories of brutal hits on the field. The atmosphere was thick with competitive testosterone disguised as camaraderie. It was near midnight when the first contact happened. Bruce was near the bar ordering water. Jim Brown approached for another whiskey. They were a meter apart. Jim looked Bruce up and down, not with hostility but with that instant evaluation contact athletes do automatically: size, weight, potential threat. He concluded, "None. You're the guy from the show, right?" Jim said in a neutral but condescending tone. "Kato." Bruce nodded politely. "Yes. And you are Jim Brown. Cleveland Browns. Guaranteed Hall of Fame." Jim smiled slightly. He liked being recognized. "Do you really do those things you do on TV? Or is it a camera trick?" The question had a hidden edge. Bruce felt it. "I do real martial arts," Bruce replied calmly. "TV only shows a fraction in slow motion." Jim took a long sip of whiskey. Looks impressive for the screen." He paused. Then he added something that would change the night. "But I'll be honest with you, pal. Asians don't intimidate me. I've played against 140 kilograms defensive linemen who wanted to rip my head off. A 60 kilograms guy doing little kicks." He let the sentence hang with a friendly smile but a clear message. The group around Jim laughed. It was the laughter of a pack recognizing the established hierarchy, the big over the small. Bruce wasn't bothered. He looked at Jim with those analytical dark eyes. "I understand," Bruce said politely. "Size matters in football. There the rules reward mass." Jim nodded, thinking Bruce had accepted his place. Exactly. Mass, power, speed, that's what matters when two men really clash. Bruce let 2 seconds pass, then asked, have you ever tested what happens when the other person doesn't clash with you, but uses your mass against you? Jim frowned. How's that? Basic physics, Bruce responded. Your mass generates momentum. If I change the direction without resisting, your weight becomes a problem, not an advantage. Jim laughed out loud. Are you telling me my weight would be a problem against you? Bruce didn't laugh. Not against me specifically. Against someone who understands body mechanics better than you, yes. The group grew tense. This had turned from friendly banter into an open challenge. Hugh Hefner noticed the change in atmosphere from across the room. Jim Brown set his glass on the bar and turned fully toward Bruce. His physique was absurd compared to Bruce's. It looked like he could break him with a hug. Okay. Sounds like you have something to prove. Bruce shook his head. I have nothing to prove. You said Asians don't intimidate you. I'm just offering to verify if that is truth or prejudice disguised as experience. Jim smiled. He liked this. What do you propose? Bruce pointed to the large side lounge. 9 seconds. You try to grab me, hit me, tackle me like on the field, whatever you want. I only try to make sure you don't touch me. If you grab me, your right size dominates. If you don't grab me in 9 seconds, maybe you reconsider your theory. Jim looked around. 15 people were listening. Saying no would mean losing status. No hits to the face? Jim asked. No hard hits anywhere, Bruce replied. This is a demonstration of principle. They moved to the lounge. Someone moved the furniture to create a space about 6 meters by 6. Steve McQueen approached, worried. Bruce, you don't have to prove anything to this guy. Bruce smiled. I'm not proving anything, Steve. I'm teaching. Hefner offered to keep time with his Rolex. 9 seconds on my mark. Ready. Go. First second. Jim exploded forward with speed that shouldn't be possible for his size. He extended his arms for a bear hug. Bruce wasn't there. He pivoted 45 degrees. Jim's arms closed on thin air. Second. Jim planted his foot and changed direction with impressive agility. He went low for a leg tackle. Bruce lifted his lead leg, retracted it, and Jim's arms passed underneath. Second. Jim recovered with pure power, lunging laterally to sweep the space. Bruce didn't move away. He stepped into Jim's dead zone before the sweep was complete. Second. Jim stood up fast. He was breathing harder. He tried a feint, faking right going left. Bruce didn't react to the feint. He read the actual weight shift. Jim's hand grazed Bruce's sleeve. Fabric, not body. Second. Jim was frustrated. He used explosive straight-line speed. Bruce didn't retreat. He took a half step sideways and turned his shoulders. Jim missed again. Second. Jim pivoted, moving like a boxer now, trying to cut off the distance. Bruce adjusted, dancing diagonally. Second. Jim tried a tactical trap, faking a charge and stopping suddenly, hoping Bruce would overcommit. Bruce stopped too. They stared at each other for half a second. Jim saw absolute patience in Bruce's eyes. Second. Jim threw everything. A combination high and entry low, a side grab. Bruce responded like flowing water, letting every movement complete its arc without finding a target. Second. Final attempt. Jim exploded vertically and horizontally at once, everything he had. Bruce took a tiny step back and rotated his torso. Jim's fingers brushed Bruce's shirt. Time! Hefner shouted. The silence was heavy. Jim Brown, one of the most dominant athletes in history, couldn't catch a man 60 kilograms lighter in a small room. Jim was on one knee breathing hard. Not from physical exhaustion but mental. His brain was processing a contradiction of his entire life experience. Bruce was standing, his silk shirt barely wrinkled. He looked at Jim with respect. Jim stood up and extended his hand. This time it was a warrior's greeting. Okay, Jim said hoarsely. Asians can intimidate. He paused. Or at least you can. Bruce shook his hand. It's not about intimidating. It's about understanding. You are incredible at what you do. But there are other forms of power. Jim laughed, his ego gone. You made me feel slow and clumsy. You aren't slow, Bruce said. But you are trained to resist and dominate, not to adapt to what you cannot touch. They are different languages. Steve McQueen approached with whiskey. Jim, you just lived what I've been trying to tell Hollywood for years. This guy isn't an actor who does kung fu. He's a martial artist who acts. Jim turned to Bruce. Would you train with me? For real? Bruce smiled. Gladly. But I warn you, you'll have to unlearn before you can learn, and unlearning is harder. Hefner approached Bruce with the smile of a businessman seeing an opportunity. Bruce, that was educational. Have you ever considered doing something more serious on television? Something that really shows this? Bruce responded with a tone that mixed humor and reality. I try, Hugh, but Hollywood doesn't believe an Asian man can be a lead. They think we're good for being servants, villains, or comic relief, not heroes. Hefner frowns. Well, after tonight, anyone who saw that knows it's stupidity. Jim Brown, putting on his shirt, chimes in. Hollywood is afraid of what it doesn't understand, and they definitely don't understand this, he says, pointing at Bruce. But they're going to have to, because when the world sees what I just saw, they're going to demand it. Bruce smiles, but there is sadness in his eyes. I hope you're right. That conversation ends and the party continues, but something in that room has shifted. Jim Brown spends the rest of the night sitting with Bruce asking questions. Not superficial questions, but deep ones about body mechanics, perception, and how to train the mind to read intention before the body even moves. Steve McQueen, watching from the bar, tells Roman Polanski, that little Asian guy is going to change how the world sees martial arts. He just needs the right platform. Polanski, skeptical, responds, maybe, but Hollywood doesn't give platforms easily to those who don't fit the mold. Steve smiles. Hollywood isn't going to have a choice. The truth always finds a way. Around 3 a.m. Jim Brown says goodbye to Bruce. Before leaving, he tells him something important. Thank you for not humiliating me out there. You could have. I saw moments where you could have hit me and you chose not to. Bruce nods. I didn't come to humiliate. Humiliation closes minds. Respect opens them. Jim shakes his hand one last time. You're different, not just in how you fight, but in how you think. He pauses. Asians can do more than just intimidate. They can teach. That night at the Playboy Mansion, an NFL giant learned that size is not destiny, that strength is not absolute, and that respect isn't earned by how much you weigh, but by how much you understand. And a 61 kilograms Asian man demonstrated without arrogance that real power doesn't scream. It simply exists and reveals itself when necessary. The reflection. Now the question is for you. How many times have you assumed that something big is automatically more powerful than something small? How many times have you confused mass with mastery? And how many times have you dismissed someone or something because they didn't fit your preconceived definition of a threat? Jim Brown, one of the greatest athletes of his era, had the humility to recognize that his mental model was incomplete. That didn't make him weaker, it made him wiser. True power isn't in never being wrong. It's in being able to recognize when you are and adjusting. Humiliation closes minds, respect opens them. If this story made you rethink size, power, prejudice, or respect, please leave a like so more people can find real stories like this. Subscribe because there are dozens of these encounters between Bruce Lee and legendary figures that aren't in movies, but in the memories of those who were there. Comment with one lesson you're taking away. Don't copy, write your own. 9 seconds, 120 kilograms against 61 kilograms. A giant who couldn't touch a man half his size, and a lesson that resonates 56 years later. Never underestimate what you don't understand. Do you understand? It can teach you more than the things you've already mastered. Now go and train, but train with an open mind, not with closed certainties. Because the day you close your mind is the day you stop growing. In combat, in business, and in life. AA.